Hey ladies, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Sasha Davis, and this podcast is for the woman who is craving adventure, craving more confidence, craving freedom. Freedom in everything that she does. Freedom from stories, freedom from old habits, freedom from old relationships or shitty jobs or just all the things that don't make you happy. You want freedom to enjoy life. Time freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom. I hear ya. I was there. This guy right here. I was there not too long ago. I was craving freedom in all areas of my life, and I've always craved freedom. I just didn't really know what the word was until recently. And I'll tell you a story about a job that I had. And this was probably one of the biggest transitions that I had to make, the biggest come into Jesus moment I've had in a while. And I would like to share it with you on my take on freedom. So let's take a step back to find out I'm pregnant. Right? Which is great. It was great. But I'd hardly shared with anybody. I was scared that I wouldn't get this promotion that I was up for. So I shit you not, I did not tell anybody I was pregnant until I was almost 17 weeks pregnant, because I was scared that I would not get the promotion because I was a woman and I was pregnant. And maybe that's just a story that I have, but for any of you women that had worked in a corporate world, dominated by mostly men, you might have a similar feeling. Nobody actually came out and said, Sasha, we're not going to give you a promotion because you're pregnant, but I've heard horror stories, and it was a real fear of mine. So I felt this excitement because I was pregnant, I was having a baby, me and my husband were super excited, but then I was also on the other end, like I was scared and I couldn't share with anybody for fear that I would lose my job and I would lose the freedom that I was seeking in that position, when in all reality it wasn't freedom in the first place. It was just, I thought that the higher I climbed, the more happy I would be, but in all reality, the higher I climbed, the more miserable I was. So you guys, I was like almost 5 months, almost 5 months pregnant, 4.5 months pregnant before I even told anybody. And that was just how it went. And so I'm pregnant and I'm still working this job. I got the promotion and I was the manager, which was fine in the beginning. I love helping people. I love problem solving. I love getting down and dirty with the best of them, saying, this is what we could do. This is what we can't do. And I really view myself as a leader, and maybe that's just me being cocky, but whatever. I love to say, here, let me take your hand. Let's do this together. Let me show you how this is done. I have had some really horrible bosses in my life. And I absolutely hated when somebody would say to me, Sasha, you need to go do this. I'm like, oh, listen here, motherfucker. If you tell me to do something one more time, would drive me insane. I hated when somebody would point their finger and tell me to go do something, but they wouldn't get off their ass to help me. So I really prided myself on trying to be that type of leader where I was like, okay, guys, like I've been there, I've done that, I've worked my way up from, this office assistant to the manager. I put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and a lot of effort to try and get to this point. Like, let me help you, let me fix these issues. But I found myself tired. Oh, so tired. I was so exhausted. And it wasn't just because of the pregnancy. Like, I was mentally tired. I was mentally, physically, emotionally drained from just trying and trying and trying and getting beaten back down, beat back down, beat back down. Every time I had an idea, somebody would tell me no. And it was so freaking hard to try to be myself, to try to help others within these walls of the corporate world. You know, there's always the political bullshit that goes on in the corporate world, you know, the cans and can't nots, and you know, you have to have so many policies and procedures in play, and if somebody does something, you can't reprimand them, or you can't like have a call to action, or not a call to action, but like an action plan, because you might offend somebody. Or you know, it was really hard to be authentic and honest, and so I found myself just lying all the frickin' time and like beating around the bush, and that is so not me. I'm one of the people who really likes to call it like it is, but I had to watch my tongue all the time. All the time, you guys, and it made me miserable, because on the inside I'm like cringing, and I'm like, God, I don't want to say this. Why are they making me say this? And it wasn't that they were like physically holding me down saying like, Sasha, you have to do this, but there is certain things in place where you have to work within the guidelines, and the guidelines were very, very hard for me to follow, you guys. Oh, I'm one of those people that likes to wander off the beaten path, and that was frowned upon by most. Maybe not by all, but by most. And they're like, Sasha, stop rocking the boat. But I did. I was like, why do things have to be this way? I was always questioning everything, and you know, a lot of times I pretty much just got told to shut up. And then a week later, a man, and I'm not a man hater, you guys, I am not a man hater, but it really irked me when I would have an idea and I would get shut down because, you know, I was a pregnant 20-something-year-old, but I was a manager, and I did work freaking hard, and I would have an idea. Shit you not, they would tell me no, and a week later, one of the other managers who just happened to have a penis would say the exact same thing, and it was like, oh my gosh, this person has an amazing idea. And I'm just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I cannot fucking do this anymore. I cannot keep putting myself out there and getting shot down every single day. Like, there's things that I know would help, but my voice, I wasn't loud enough. There was something missing that I wasn't doing, or maybe there wasn't anything I could do, but I felt stuck and I felt chained down, and I could just feel my spirit. This place was sucking the life out of me, figuratively, emotionally, everything. Like, it was just sucking the life out of me. I would go home and I would just cry, and I would be pissed off to everybody around me. You know, I'd try and play nice at work, and then I'd leave work and I'm like, fuck, oh, this sucks. I want to do this and I can't do this. And this person said this and that person. It was just like a constant drama, and it was really starting to drain on me. Like, I started getting sick all the time. I couldn't sleep at night. I, lived on caffeine, and at this time I had stopped smoking, but I smoked a shit ton of cigarettes because that was like my stress reliever, and so being pregnant and like quitting pop, I mean, I still drank coffee, and you guys can give me shit for that, I don't care. I still drank coffee, but I quit all pop, all other caffeine. I stopped smoking, I stopped doing all the things, and so it was like, wow, I didn't drink or anything like that, so I really had to start coping with these emotions that this job was causing me. And I found myself, I could not wait for maternity leave to come. I had like a countdown. I had a freaking countdown to when this baby was going to come so that I could be on maternity leave. But I was also kind of so absent-minded and so worried about what was going on with work that I didn't even really get time to enjoy my pregnancy. I worked up until the night before I had her. I worked up until literally the day before I had her. And, hindsight, I probably would have changed that a bit. I would have loved to enjoy my pregnancy, but I felt like I couldn't because I always had to work. There was always something that needed to be done, or there was always somebody I had to help, or somebody needed something from me and they couldn't figure it out for themselves. But in reality, like, I had conditioned myself and everybody around me to rely on me when they're perfectly capable of handling things themselves. But that's what happens. My experience, I had ended up training people that they could call on me at all hours of the day and that I would answer. I was always a people pleaser, and if somebody asked me something, I wanted to have an answer to them immediately. And they can wait. I know that now. I still struggle with this because if somebody sends me an email, I'm like, they need a response right now. but I'm learning patience. I'm learning to be present. And I think I am doing pretty damn good considering where I came from. I was impulse everything. Everything needed to be done yesterday. Go, 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 go. I prided myself on being busy. It was awful. It was awful. Like looking back, I'm like, oh my God, how did I function for that long? Well, I didn't really function. I lived on a lot of caffeine and nicotine, which that's really no way to live. For me anyways. So here I am. Cannot wait for maternity leave to come. And you guys, I was working like 12-hour days, super pregnant. I had 2 jobs at the time. I was working like 60 plus hours a week, and I didn't really need to, but I felt like I needed to. There was no financial strain at the time that I needed to work this many hours, but I did just because I thought people needed me and that's what I had to do. So I go on maternity leave, and at first I was like, what do I do with all this time? First time mom, I'm like, well, I'm going to paint the house and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get so much stuff done on maternity leave. And that is such a joke. Oh my goodness. I literally got nothing done except for hanging out with my baby. And it was the best 12 weeks of my life. And I took the full 12 weeks off. I did. I gave no shits. I was like, you know what? The state says that I could take 12 weeks off and still keep my job, so I'm freaking doing it. And I did. And they called me, my work called me several times saying, can you come back early? Can you come back early? And I'm like, nope. Actually, I think I did end up going back 1 week early or half a week early or something like that. But I was like, nope, can't do it. And over this time, I'm like, do I even really want to go back? Is there a way that I can be my own boss? Is there a way I can create a life that I actually love and enjoy? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. But I had to go find it. It didn't just willy-nilly fall into my lap. I started actively searching, and I had always kind of done coaching and mentorships and things on the side, but I didn't put a name to it. I just did it. And so then I find this program, fall in love with the work, and I had done programs and things like that before, but this one was different. It was so different. This woman had built this business on her own terms and taught the way she wanted to teach and was living a life that she wanted to live and was showing other women that they could do it too. And I was fascinated by it. I loved every single bit of it. And I was like, I need more of this in my life. I need to do this. I want to do this for myself, for my daughter, for other women. And now here I am, guys, talking to you on this podcast. I have all the things, and it is so incredible. But what I was really craving was freedom. Freedom to live life on my own terms. And I'm telling you that you can do it too. You just have to start thinking outside that box. And so back to the story. So I'm on maternity leave, and I'm telling my husband, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Please, God, don't make me go back. And the truth is, he couldn't have actually forced me to go, because I'm pretty strong-willed. And when I set my mind to something, come hell or high water, it's going to freaking happen. I'm going to make it happen. So I was so determined. I was like, God, I don't want to go back to work. I'm going to figure something out, and I am going to make it work no matter what. Well, I went back to work. I was like, okay, I'll try it. Maybe things have changed in the last 3 months. Well, they didn't. Nothing changed. It was worse. It was awful. And I go back and I'm like, oh my God. And not that the people were awful. I really enjoyed some of the coworkers that I had, but just the work itself and the environment. I was like, fuck this shit. Peace out. And so I did about 2 weeks of it. And I just, every night I'm like, Will, my husband, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And he's just like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. So the week after, I think it was week 3 being back, one of the sales managers was talking to me, And in my head, I'm like, just tell him, Sasha. Just tell him, Sasha. I don't even remember what he was saying to me because I was so inside my own head. You know, I'm starting to my heart is racing. I'm starting to panic. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to do it? Am I actually going to put in my notice? Are you actually going to quit this job, Sasha, that you've worked so hard to get? You worked from a $10 an hour, barely anything job to where you're at now, and you're just going to walk away from it? And the answer is yes. Yes, I did. I got up and walked away from it. I didn't actually walk out the door that day, but I ballsed up and I said, it's now or never. It's now or never. And I had the security of a good paying job. I had the 9 to 5. Well, theoretically I had 9 to 5. I had all the benefits. I had all the everything that you think you're supposed to want. But there was still something inside me that was like, not this, not this. Quit killing yourself for other people. And so I told him, I said, I quit. And immediately I was like, a sigh of relief. I was like, I just said it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't keep doing this. I am so done. I want to be a mom. I want to be a wife. I want to be present. I want to enjoy life. I want to be a business owner. I want to help women and people on my own terms. I want to do the things that I want to do and help people the way that I want to help people. And so that's what I did. And I don't think he believed me at first. And then I had to go tell the other manager. And then by then it was just easy. And, then they try and talk you out of it, and they ask you if it's money or what they can do. And so there's a lot of bargaining back and forth, but I was just like, no, I'm done. At this point, you couldn't pay me enough to stay here. My mind is made up. Double my salary. I don't care. I am peacing out. I decided that my time, my freedom, my life was more than any salary that place could have paid me. I checked out, but I did all I could for the last 2 weeks that I was there to try and make it an easy transition for them. I did, they really watched me grow. They saw me from, a young couple who was newly engaged to, a lot of them came to my wedding, and a lot of them were there when I had my baby. And so they had watched me kind of evolve into this woman that I am today. And so it was sad. I cried when I left. I cried a lot, but it was a good cry. It wasn't a cry of sadness that I was going to miss the job. It was, it was almost like I was saying goodbye to the old Sasha, because I knew that something bigger and better was out there for me. And I was mourning the loss of my old life, because from that day forward, things have never been the same, nor will they ever be the same. I will never fall back into that pattern that I was in of working myself dog-ass tired, working myself to the bone for other people who wouldn't lift a finger for me. I was done with it. I was so done with it. I was done with the placing of value, of the value of my life on a freaking salaried paycheck. I was done with it. I was not determining my worth by somebody else's standards anymore. Not anymore. I'm free. I am Sasha, and I am free from that BS. I say it now, I said it then, and I'll say it in 5 freaking years. I am free from all of that old stories, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, that, that I have to work in a corporate 9 to 5, or that I have to have this, or that I have to have that. No, I am free from all of that. All of that bullshit I am free from. And I cannot tell you how happy I am now that I don't have to live my life based on somebody else's standards of me, based on how somebody else views what, or thinks that I should do, or how I should show up in the world, or, do this or do that. I don't have to do that stuff anymore. And I never want to ever again. And I don't want that for you either, and not every job out there is a shit job. Not every job is out there is a shit job. I still have a part-time job teaching individuals with disabilities how to ride horses and use those equine therapy skills in their daily life. And I love it, you guys. I absolutely love working with horses. I love working with people. And that is a passion of mine. Helping people and being with horses are both passions of mine. So I've kind of combined them in a two. And that is a job of mine, and I love it. And then I've created my own business, helping people on my own terms, right? Helping women like you create freedom, create adventure, gain the confidence you need to go out there and chase your dreams. Live a bold life. Live the life that you want to live, right? And I do this. I've created online programs for you. I've created online free stuff for you. I created this podcast for you. Everything that I do in my life is for a bigger purpose. Like, it's not just for me. And that was probably the biggest thing that I've learned over this last year, is that it's never about me. It's never about you. Everything that we do has a bigger purpose. And when you start to get out of your head, that is when you start to see the freedom, right? So every day I get up and I do this. I share my stories. I'm vulnerable. I'm out there helping people. And it's not for me. I'm hoping to inspire somebody, because I have some pretty deep, dark, shitty stories. I mean, if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, you know some of the horrible stuff that I've done to myself or that I've done to other people. And I'm telling you, there's a lot more stories that are coming. But me sharing these, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you to think that I'm doing this for attention or anything like that. And that's, maybe a story in my head, and that's fine. I do this to help you to know that I've come from a really shitty place, and you can rise up through that and become the person you are meant to be. Okay? You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. If you want to quit your shitty job and pursue a career or a business idea that you've been dreaming about forever, do it. Freaking do it. You're not getting any younger. Find a way to make it happen. Light that fire under your ass and make it happen. Ask for help. Okay? And it's not going to change overnight. But if you take action steps, teeny tiny little baby action steps every single day, they start to add up, right? So if you take 365 steps, over the course of a year, just one step a day adds up, and you'll be at 365 steps in a year. And that's a lot of steps, right? So just remember, baby steps, teeny tiny action steps. You can have the freedom that you desire. You can have the adventure, have the confidence. You can have all these things. You just have to get out of your own head and think about the bigger picture. Think of who you were meant to be and all of the people that you were meant to inspire. And if you're a mom, think of your children. That's what really got my fire lit, right? So I had kind of a rough childhood, and it wasn't no fault of my parents. I don't think they knew any better, and neither did I, right? We all learn, and once you know better, you do better. But I was kind of fucked up in the head when I was younger, which is okay. Some of us are, some of us aren't. I am not perfect. But I knew that if I didn't face my shit head on, that I would just pass it on down to my daughter. And I cannot and will not live with that guilt. I refuse. So I am doing everything in my power to be better, to do better, to help others do better. For you, for your family, for your kids, for your community. Hell, I was talking to one of the women in my group, and she is phenomenal. She is phenomenal. She is an educator. And the other day I was talking to her, and I was brought to my knees with like tears of gratitude, because this is why I do what I do. She's telling me how much I've changed her life, and I'm going to try not to get choked up. And she tells me that I have affected her family, that her husband's happier, that her children are happier, and she's an educator, and her entire classroom is being affected by it. And, you guys, sorry. It just warms my heart to know that this ripple effect is real, and that I really am changing lives, because sometimes I forget about it. I get so stuck in my own head, that I'm like, okay, just help one more person, Sasha, one more person, Sasha. And I am doing it. by you listening to this and by the women that sign up with me that are my clients, like, they are out there helping their communities. And so it's this big giant ripple effect. Holy shit. Oh, get it together, Sasha. And it just makes me so fucking happy to know that my shitty things that I've been through, that I can use those to teach you something, and then you turn around and can teach somebody else, and then they turn around and teach somebody else, and then they turn around and teach somebody else, and we can all be free together, free from our bullshit, free from our stories. We can all have the time freedom, the emotional freedom. We can all have the joy that we desire. It's right there. It's right there. And we can all have it. Oh, I did not mean to get emotional. I just am very passionate about this. And I just love doing this stuff so much. I just absolutely love it. And every day I'm just in awe with gratitude. So that's all I have for you today. I don't know if I could do much more without just bawling my freaking eyes out. I don't mean to laugh, but holy smokes, you guys. So if I can do it, you can do it. If I can go from, minimum wage, several jobs, to climbing the corporate ladder, to just jumping off that cliff and starting my own business and helping women and people on my own terms, if I can do it, you can do it too. You can do it. And it's the ripple effect. You guys, you'll help your families, you'll help your children, you'll help everybody in your life. And it is an amazing experience. And that's where it starts. It starts with freedom. The freedom to do the things you want to live, or do the things you want to do and live the life you want to live. Live a bold life. You can do it. Okay, that's all I got for you today, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, I please encourage you to go leave a 5-star review, because it helps me reach more women. It helps me be able to get more women on here to interview, to have you hear their stories. And ultimately, that's all I want to do. I want to share our stories. I want to build each other up. I want to share our successes and our struggles and our challenges and everything else. And I want to team up and just build this big, massive tribe of badasses out there killing it and living their freaking dream and encouraging others to do the same. So if you enjoyed this, please, again, I thank you so much. If you could go over, leave a 5-star review. Hell, leave a total review of this, because I read each and every one of those. And when I do, I sit here in my truck and I cry like a little baby, because I'm just so touched by all your words. I promise I'm not this emotional all the time. Actually, over the last couple of years, I've been a lot more emotional than I have ever been. And maybe that's just the baby thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm changing people's lives. I don't really know. All I know is that I have never felt more free and more thankful and adventurous and badass and all these things in my entire life than I do right now. So I appreciate you more than you know. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. All right. Stay tuned, guys. Peace out.